ragu. And in order to do that, I have several vegetables here that I will combine at the end. I have some beautiful chanterelles, I have some pearl onions, I have all tomatoes here, I have some green beans and some carrots. So first of all, I will start with the pearl onions. So what I'm doing with the pearl onions, I will add a little bit of butter into my pan. The reason why I'm calling it glazing is because I let the butter melt. I put my little pearl onions over it, and then I'm adding a little bit of sugar over it, a little brown sugar, and then later on, when it's going to cook in, that brown sugar starts on coating the onions, and they're going to be nice and shiny. That's why I'm calling it glazing. And of course, I will add a little bit of water, so not too much, just about 1/3 up, and I'm adding a little salt and pepper into it. So a little bit of pepper, and then a little bit of salt. Once I start on covering up with the lid, I let it simmer very gently. So next, let me grab some carrots, and I will do the same thing to those carrots. Let me just cut off the greens from those carrots, and the cut that I will give is just very, very rustic without any complication. The way I like that the stew is being really rustic, so no fancy cut, no really measured everything out. So once I have the carrots, I do the same thing. Let me add a little bit of butter or again olive oil into my pan. And I'm gonna add the carrots right into it. Okay. And once I'm here, let me put a little bit of water into it. Let me put some sugar on it, a little bit of sugar, just like we did with the other ones. Tiny little bit of sugar, and again, some salt and pepper. Okay. So what I'm taking here, I have some green beans, and those are pretty hefty green beans here. So what I'll do, I will actually cut these green beans in half, and it's just on blanching them and eating when they're a little cracking. I don't want that today on that vegetable ragu. I think I really want to braise very slowly those green beans so they become really, really tender. We're now going to get our green beans ready. So again, tiny little bit of butter. Cover them up, and again, probably give them a little bit more heat. Another great item, I guess I got some chanterelles today, so I really want to use some of those beautiful mushrooms. So what I'm doing with my chanterelles here, I'm just going to cut them again pretty roughly without trying to be too precise. Alright, so I'll cut like that. So let me just flip those over. So this one, I definitely don't want to steam them. I actually want to saute them. So I'm not going to cover them up. All right, I think we're in great shape. So that's going to take another 3 to 4 minutes, and all my elements are ready. And then I will check my gratin in the oven to see how the gratin is doing. So here you can see now my vegetables. When I talk about glazing the pearl onions, I was not kidding, right? Because when you see how nice and shiny they become, even like my carrots. So let me grab a larger pan, and I'm going to sit the pan right over here. And definitely crank some heat on it. And now what I'm doing, I actually transfer all the vegetables into that pan. So here goes the carrots. And you see even the juice from the carrot is kind of syrupy. And let me get the pearl onions also. That is a feast starting right there. Let's pour my green beans over it also. So now the last little element, I'm adding a little bit of cherry tomatoes just at the last moment, right? It's kind of important that those little tomatoes, they're just going to warm up from the heat of those vegetables. Nothing needs to be really cooked, but look how nice and beautiful it comes together. Quickly, a little bit of chives that I'm adding into it. So the chives, instead of cutting it really short, this time I cut it like we call like bâtonnets, little strips. So I don't want to have the chives just in there. So see, just by sprinkling a little bit chives over it, that with my beef Wellington, I mean, once you're serving those vegetables, right, I think it cannot get better than that. Could be even a perfect vegetarian dish, right? So here is our vegetable ragu. So let me check how the gratin is doing. Okay, so I think our gratin is ready here also. You see how nice and creamy it is and still kind of bubbles. So let me just take it out. And that's exactly the way I like my gratin, because it's actually nice and hot. So that's the gratin dauphinois, just the way I like it. You could see those scallops of the potatoes on top, starting caramelizing nicely. Now look at how beautiful that beef Wellington is. Who won that for Christmas dinner? You have to eat it. It's still fashionable, and when you serve it with a vegetable ragu and a gratin dauphinois, that is a feast. And of course, some great white wine goes with it. Cheers.